do some homemade pasta. Actually, we're going to make some homemade fettuccine. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to make that. And then after that, we're going to make some sweet potato gnocchi. Somebody can correct my pronunciation. And we're going to make a lemon gnocchi that's absolutely wonderful. After we do this, we're going to film the second episode, and that'll be the sauces for these different pastas. And I hope you like these. So, without further ado, the homemade pasta. We put 2/3 of a cup of flour, a pinch of salt, and then we're going to add 1 egg, and we're going to put it all in this food processor. If you don't have a food processor, don't worry about it. You can do this with a hand mixer or a regular mixer. Just once it comes together, we're going to watch it come together in a ball. Once it comes together, stop, because pasta will get tough. So it forms a ball. That's it. There's our homemade pasta right there. Now we're going to take this out. We're going to put a little more flour on it, and we're going to put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. So we're back. We're going to take this mixer, and I have my KitchenAid pasta rollers here. These aren't necessary. I'm going to show you as soon as I do it with this. I'm going to show you how to do it with the just rolling it out the old German way, where you roll the dough out by hand. So I'm going to take the dough. I'm going to put it through my whistling and the goal here is to simply keep enough flour so it doesn't stick to the rollers. So we're going to feed it through twice on one setting. Then we're going to close the setting a little. We're going to feed it through again. Again, just keep your surface floured. It'll help with your project here. All right, I'm going to turn this noisy one off, and we're going to install the fettuccine blades. Same deal, it just goes in on your mixers. This will all work on a KitchenAid mixer, and I will show you without it. So now, again, keep it floured so it doesn't stick to anything. And we're going to turn this noisy one back on. And we're just going to feed the pasta through. And it's going to come through as fettuccine. We're going to put it on a floured surface so it can dry a little. When you cook fresh pasta, it takes about 3 minutes. And you want to cook it in salted water. I'll explain that in a little bit. So that's basically how the fettuccine is made. So here we go. So now we're taking the dough. This is how my mom made German noodles, and this is how you do it if you don't have that fancy machine. KitchenAid machine to do it for you. You're going to take your dough, again flour it up. You're going to roll it out to the thickness you want for the thickness of your noodles. Now, be mindful that when you do homemade pasta, when it gets in the water, it's probably going to be almost doubled in size when it comes out. So it's going to absorb some of that water and it's going to get puffy. So you want to get it fairly thin. So what we have here, fairly thin pasta. Now, in order to make the fettuccine, we again make sure that it's got enough flour in it. We're simply going to roll it, take our knife, and cut it to the size noodle we want. And there you have it, fettuccine. And you can have it as thick as you want or as thin as you like. So, if you don't have the machine, you'll see that you still have the same good results. This homemade pasta is very light, and you'll enjoy it. We're going to show you the sweet potato gnocchi now, and it's very easy, very messy, but it's well worth the effort. So we're going to put a little flour on our board, and then we're going to take our sweet potatoes according to the recipe. And by the way, all these recipes will be available to you. For those that don't know it, I do a online cookbook with over 1,500 recipes. So if you'd like to be involved in that and get that, just send me a note. I have to give you a special sign-on code, and take care of that. So we're going to make sure that the potato doesn't have any lumps, and just mash it into the flour that's on the board. We're going to create a well, just a hole in the middle. You know, not down to keep a little flour in there, and then we're going to take one beaten egg and we're going to pour it in the middle. This is where it gets pretty sloppy. And you can do this with your hand, you can do this with a pasta cutter or a pastry cutter, which is just a flat piece of metal. But basically you're going to just mix it in, get your hands in there, and mix it in, and then take more flour and keep adding more flour until you get this to a dough consistency. I know, it's terrible, but you'll love this if you make this. And one of the things about making homemade pasta, either the fettuccine or even this, is depending on the type of day you're having, not you're having, but the weather's having, humidity will affect it. So sometimes the pasta will take a little more water or a little more egg. Sometimes it'll take less flour, sometimes it'll take more flour. But right now our goal is just to have this come together as a dough that we can work with. All right, so once we get it together as a dough, we're just gonna kind of make a log out of it. We're going to cut it in pieces and strips, about 3/4 of an inch wide. And then we're going to cut these strips into pieces, into bite size. These are the gnocchi. Flour's your best friend here. All right, so I'm going to show you now. We're going to take our fork. There's a special board for this. It's got grooves in it. I have one, but I would bet that only a couple, three people in here would have one. So we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to take our fork, we're going to take our piece of dough, and we're going to run our finger down it and just flick it onto the board. Make sure it's floured good. So we're flicking it on, and what that does is that creates the grooves that will catch the sauce that we'll show you how to make in the next episode. So basically, that's a sweet potato gnocchi. These are very sweet. They taste very, very good. And they're a little sticky here. Keep it floured and just spin them off. And so you get these. So that's the sweet potato. Next we're going to do the lemon. The lemon is outrageously good. It's got some mascarpone cheese in it, and it's really, really good. All right, welcome back. Now we're going to do lemon gnocchi. These are wonderful. They're very light. Again, it's a messy process, but I would advise you to try them. They're really worth it. So we're going to take some mascarpone. We're going to put 8 ounces. Get the mascarpone in there. We're going to put an egg, 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk in. We're going to do a pinch of salt. Salt goes in everything. I know if you can't deal with salt, you just still have to use a little bit. We're going to do lemon zest. We're going to do 8 ounces of Romano. I like Romano over Parmesan. Romano is a sheep goat or sheep milk, and the Parmesan is cow. The Romano has a little nuttier flavor, a little better, fuller flavor for my take. I'd suggest when you go to the market, buy 4 ounces of each and try them alongside each other. And you might like, Parmesan in one thing, and you might like the Romano, or vice versa. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of nutmeg. A little nutmeg goes a long way. It's a very strong spice. And then we're going to put some flour in. We're going to put 3/4 of a cup of flour, again, measured perfectly. And we're going to mix this up. I'm going to make sure we're plugged in here. So this is going to we're going to mix this until it's light and fluffy, which are the names of my 2 first cats. this. And you've got, you know, it's basically the consistency of probably peanut butter. And you're going to take spoonfuls of this wonderful batter, and we're going to throw it in the flour. And you have to have a lot of flour on here because these things are so light that you're going to be, you know, they're going to be sticking. So we're going to do that. I'm going to show you two methods. So you get a bit on your spoon. Now this is called Keneals. And you're going leading edge of the spoon against leading edge of the spoon until you get a nice, you know, seashell type looking thing, and you're dropping in the majority of the flour. It's time consuming. Again, it's worth it. Again, okay. The cheater's way to do it: take a spoonful, dump it in the flour, because you're gonna actually roll these out against a fork like we did with the sweet potatoes. Got the handle on that, and I'm going pretty quickly because of time constraints, but understand that watch this a couple of times and you'll get the hang of it. So now all I'm doing, I'm just kind of rolling them in the flour so I can handle them, and they're getting to be cylindrical. And then we're going to take these, and it makes that makes a ton of these. I'm just showing you briefly. So as we did before, we're taking the tines of our fork upside down. We're taking the dough, we're putting it on the fork. We're using our thumb and we're pushing down. A little too hard, but you can see, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it gets the nice lines in there that will soak up on the sauces we're going to show you how to make. Both today, when we do the other video, we're going to show you that we're going to make a brown buttered sage sauce for the gnocchi, and it's really good. All right, so now we're going to cook these gnocchis, and we're going to cook the fettuccine that we made. So first of all, you're going to get boiling water. You're going to put salt in this water. You're going to put quite a bit of salt in this water. The way this water should taste is when you were a kid and you went to the beach and that big wave hit you and you gulped down a mouthful of salt water. It should taste that salty to you. Don't worry. It's, you know, if you don't salt pasta before it's cooked or while it's being cooked, you'll never get it salted. The taste won't come out. And to see if the pasta's done, I'll taste a piece of pasta and I'll see, and then you can still put salt in the last minute. So we've got our boiling water here. We've got our lemon gnocchi in here. Well, you put them in, they sink to the bottom. They're going to float to the top, and once they float to the top, we're going to go 3 to 5 minutes, and then we're going to fish them out. You know, and let them drain. You can put these, you can shock these, you can put them in a vat of cold water with ice in it and it'll stop the cooking, or if you're going to use them right away, do not rinse them. And we've got our fresh homemade pasta, the fettuccine we made, in the boiling water. This is going to take just 3 to 4 minutes. I like it a little al dente, so I like it a little less cooked. And it's going to hold up better in the fettuccine alfredo that we're going to show you how to make in the second episode. So basically, the pasta's cooked. We take it out, we do the same thing. We can shock it, or we can just let it drain and then serve it up. And that'll be the end of our pasta.